let's go. So let's dance now, it is my turn. Just won't work you out. I am ready for your action. Just won't work you out. You should cut off all distraction. It's all on you now. And just
welcome back to Rubbin Minds. And before the break, we touched upon the return of President Muhammadu Buhari after 104 days. But beyond the funfair, the excitement, the jubilation about the return of our president, here are 8 things that we believe the president should be thinking about as he resumes office. Joining the conversation, we have Bola Dale Adekoya, a public affairs analyst. Welcome to Rubbin Minds.
It's a pleasure to be here.
We also have Ahmed Agbabiaka, a public affairs analyst as well.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for joining us. And from our Abuja studio, we have Ariyo Dari, the co-convener of Resume or Resign. Ariyo, can you hear us?
Nice having you.
Thank you for joining us. So, let's get to the business of the day. The cabinet reshuffle. Before the president left, we did see the cabinet reshuffle. We saw the vice president, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, reassign portfolios to 2 ministers. I mean, do we think that now that the president has come back, the sheriff is in town, that there's going to be a shake-up, perhaps of ministers that have been underperforming, or perhaps a political move?
Well, thank you. Let me first start by saying that the return of President Muhammadu Buhari is a good omen. However, it is not the euphoria that has greeted that return. It is not based on the fact that he has done well. It is based on the analogy that when you have a father that you have spent billions of naira taking care of in the hospital and he gets well, you'll be happy because you know at the end of the day you don't have to start spending money again. So it is based on that fact that I want to welcome the president back to Nigeria, and we hope he doesn't leave anytime soon. Now, back to your question, I think it's really important for us to know, for us to have a kind of scale of preference on what we think the president should focus on. Fine, we might feel that the issue of cabinet reshuffle or changing of ministers is very key. However, with the time frame, what is left of his administration, I don't think that is the major focus now. Nigeria is on the edge. This country is virtually is having problem breathing, because the unity of this country is on a keg of gunpowder. Okay. And we cannot also forget the fact that this tumult that is happening in this country is as a result of his own maladministration as well. Because when the last administration handed over to him in 2015, it was not a district, and we can see every region, almost every state in this country is calling for secession. So we should that is the first thing that I feel we should address first before even thinking of changing his cabinet.
Thank you. Don't worry, we have 8 issues that we believe that the president. So we might come to one of the issues in one of the 8. But let's move to the second issue, and this time, Ariya, I'd like you to address the issue of the anti-corruption and Ibrahim Magu saga with the lawmakers, where we have the lawmakers saying they're not going to change their stance, but at the same time, the president keeps resubmitting the name of Ibrahim Magu. Do you think we're going to get a final decision now that the president is back?
I don't understand the kind of the democracy we operate in Africa, in Nigeria. From the system where we copied our democracy from, where that's the United States of America, what I know, the process is that the moment an appointee is subjected to the confirmation of the Congress, and the Congress has probably one way or the other deem it fit to reject or to confirm, the decision of the Congress, stands. So the National Assembly or the Senate per se has rejected to the nomination of Mr. Ibrahim Magu, and I think the whole thing that is playing out is just a charade, it's an aberration. I don't understand how we practice our own democracy, and I think that if that's the decision of the Senate and Ibrahim Magu continues to occupy the position of the chairmanship of EFCC, I think it doesn't all go well for our democracy, except there is a meeting point between the executive and the legislative arm of government. They have to just harmonize. Okay. But the way we're going about it, we cannot be eating our cake at the same time, having it. We can't be talking from two sides of the mouth. If we want to play democracy, let us play. I mean, the way it is played in advanced country, in the Senate climb. Today, what we talked about, the way things are done in America, for instance, when people were talking about the health issue of Mr. President, I remember then people were making references to some of the presidents in the United States of America who have also been sick in office. Yes. But when we also talked about some certain issue, regarding our nation, and we're making the same reference to the United States of America, people will say, the way they do their own thing in America is different from ours.
Yes, we get the point on of copying Senate climates, but we'll return to the studio, and I'll still take you up on that discussion about the resume or resign now that the president has returned. But let's move to the next thing out of the 8 things that we want to discuss, and this one is the Babachi Lawal and Oke's fate, and I'd like you to contribute on that.
Well, I think it's...
Ahmed.
Yes, thank you so much. So the return of President Muhammadu Buhari first, I think, is worth mentioning here before I even respond to the question.
Okay, the celebration,
yes.
euphoria.
President Muhammadu Buhari's return and the euphoria, the excitement that greeted it is an indication that he is an embodiment of that man that Nigerians saw before they voted in 2015. And I believe that is the reason why across ethnic, religious nationalities, a lot of people were happy and they were excited. Someone even made a joke that if election were to hold yesterday, bring anybody to come and contest against President Muhammadu Buhari, was going to win the person double down. So now back to Babaji Lawal, and this issue has been overflogged. And I think, again, you can't have it 100% in any democracy or in any government. It's high time. Unfortunately, at the peak of the submission of or the conclusion of the work done by the committee headed by the vice president, that was when the president traveled out of Nigeria. So the vice president became the acting president. I don't think it's justified or is morally correct for him to now act on the report of his committee. But now that the president is back, these are fundamental issues that cause to question the integrity of the government. We can't hide that behind. So I think the president is back and he has to take decision on that, either to sack or to retain them. But the overwhelming evidence of what we have seen so far calls to question the integrity of the former SGF and the NIA director. So I think the president should act on that and perhaps get them fired.